Welcome to this tutorial to learn more about the Retrofit Projection Calculator in the Labor Pricing for a Profit software. We've added some great new calculators to the new software, and this is just one that we're really excited about. Your service department has the ability to impact the cash flow of all other areas of the company more than any other department in the company. Your technicians have more face-to-face time with the customer than anybody else, including you or your salespeople. We need to leverage that time that they're already in front of the customer, talking to the customer. They need to educate and inform the customer and generate qualified sales leads and turn them back over to the office so you can go out there and sell that customer. But we need to get them started. But what kind of an impact can this have? Is it really worth it? Well, let's take a real quick look using the Retrofit Projection Calculator. To access this calculator, we want to make sure that we're in the Calculator section of the software in the left-hand toolbar. From there, we'll simply choose the Retrofit Projection Calculator icon on our toolbar itself. When the Retrofit Projection Calculator opens up, you're going to see that it's a very simple calculator. First thing we need to do is to define what is a qualified sales lead. A qualified sales lead is not when the technician simply calls into the office and say, "Oh, you know, Mrs. Smith, she's got an old system. You better call her and see if she wants a price on a new one." That's not a qualified sales lead. He hasn't done any work on that one to qualify it and to educate and inform the customer. A qualified sales lead basically can be as simple as the technician talking to the customer after the repair is completed, telling the customer, "You know what, your system is still operating fine, but it is very old. There's a lot more efficient, a lot less expensive equipment to operate out on the market today. Would you like to have somebody from our office come out and at least give you a price as to what that would cost to replace that?" Now, if the customer says yes, then the technician should get on the phone at that point in time, call the office, and hand the phone to the customer and set up an appointment right then and there. If they can set the appointment while they're in the home, there's a 95% chance that that appointment will actually take place. If they leave the customer's house, even if they followed the same approach but didn't make the appointment while they were still in the home, then that chance of having that sales call actually take place drops down to about 65%. We want to schedule it before the technician leaves the home. Now let's get back to our calculator. The first off is how many calls per day do each of your technicians run? Across the country, we're going to use an average of 5. Now, I know on some days it's higher than that, on some days it's lower than that, but on average, how many calls per day can each technician run? The next box is the number of technicians you have. How many technicians do you have in your company? Now, you might say, well, I've got 2 guys that are there full-time and 1 guy that kind of helps out. Okay, now we've got 2.5 technicians. How many working days are there per year? Well, there are if you look at Monday through Friday, there's 240 business days per year, so we'll leave that at 240. The rate of calls converted to qualified sales leads. Now, the goal, the key performance indicator for a properly run service department is 12%. The technician can easily generate a qualified sales lead on 12% of all service calls. And think about it. That means for every 100 service calls that the technician runs, he should generate 12 qualified sales leads. Very, very doable for any technician. The average system replacement cost. What is your average system replacement cost for your company? Again, this is going to vary from company to company depending on the type of equipment you sell, the trade that you're in, but put in what's typical for your company. Let's say in my company that average is $7,000. Okay. Next, and the last question is, what is your closing rate? Once the technician turns in that sales lead to you, now keep in mind, what is your closing rate for the leads that come from your technicians? Because those are much better, far more qualified leads than those that come in just off of your general marketing. So what is your average closing sales rate for the leads that come in from your service technician? Now let's say that we can only close 50% of these. On average, it's closer to 70%, but let's say it's only 50%. As soon as we fill in that last box, we can see that having 2.5 technicians running 5 calls a day and them generating a sales lead on 12% of the calls they go out on, that could mean an additional $1.2 million in sales for our company. It's quite dramatic, isn't it? Plug the numbers into the calculator for your own company and find out the impact that it will have, and then get a program in place to have your technicians create qualified sales leads. Thank you.